Andrew Bruce, Data Gumbo.
Thank you very much for joining us here today. My understanding is that you guys have some very cool data software that is revolutionizing the oil and gas industry. So much so I heard about it out in the Bakken. Thought I'd give you guys a call. What's going on with Data Gumbo and everything you guys have going on?
Well, very excited about the work that we're doing with the Blockchain Consortium, the OSC Blockchain Consortium. Being able to take a 14-step process with lots of manual inputs and data dispute opportunities, and being able to automate the whole process and turn it into essentially a 3-step process. So very excited about the opportunity and basically further proof of what we're trying to do with blockchain as a service.
Blockchain, now that's something that we've heard about the last couple years. It kind of made a push a couple years ago and then it went away. Here we're starting to see it again, that it's actually being implemented with some contracts and some real companies, and it's more than an idea, it's now an implementation. Talk to me a little bit about the evolution of blockchain over the past few years.
Well, I think that a lot of people got blockchain confused with cryptocurrencies. So cryptocurrencies need blockchain, but blockchain does not need cryptocurrencies. So I think that the kind of big flash in the pan was around cryptocurrencies, and everybody getting excited about Bitcoin and Ethereum and all those other cryptocurrencies. But the real meat behind it all is the blockchain infrastructure, and being able to use that to provide transparency and trust between multiple parties, especially when you tie it in with IoT or Internet of Things data to trigger the terms of the contracts. So you can use the blockchain infrastructure to ensure that nobody can change any of the data, and you can use the IoT data to trigger the terms of the contract, which is pre-agreed. So that's what enables you to automate the whole process.
Now, this blockchain consortium that I'm looking at the press release here, the story, has Chevron, Conoco, Exxon, Royal Dutch Shell, among others. You're a part of this, right? That's what you guys are in charge of here, and that's going to basically bring the oil and gas industry to the next level. Am I reading this story right?
No, we're not part of it. So it was started by Equinor, actually. So Rebecca Hoffman from Equinor,
Okay.
and JD Frankie from ConocoPhillips are the co-chairs. And so there's the 10 board members, and those are the companies that you reeled off right there. And so we're just the provider to enable. They've got 4 use cases that they've identified for the 2019, and we're undertaking the one for the water haulage.
So you guys are the for lack of a better term, are basically the software that's going to be making all this work? The technology, that's what I'm getting at.
Technology, yeah.
Oh, so you guys are the smartest guys in the room. You guys, everybody else makes the decisions, but you guys are the ones that are going to be putting together all the software and all the technology that's going to make this whole thing work, huh?
Yeah. So we basically encode the terms of the contracts that the different companies have, and connect to the data sources and automate the process. So yeah.
So what interests me a little bit from the oil and gas side of things, we try to do things from a 5,000-foot view. We've been tracking this for a while, the blockchain, cryptocurrency, and I'm really glad you pointed out that there's a difference between the two, because I think a lot of it just got lumped into the average person, and so when one of them had a good news day, they all did, and one of them had a bad news day, they all did too. How much education was involved on your side of things involved with this?
A tremendous amount. Probably 75% of my last 3 years of my life has been spent on education and explaining. Okay, blockchain is this kind of vague term that people really can't really get their handled around. But I think that to the credit of the consortium, they've done an amazing job of really spearheading the adoption and the explanation and education. So it's not just us carrying the ball alone anymore. Now you've got people like this consortium who are doing a very good job of getting out there presentations and helping to promote the blockchain solution, and explaining that we're not talking about cryptocurrency. We're talking use of blockchain to solve very, very real problems and drive, I mean, at the end of the day, massive efficiencies. I mean, they're talking about 25% efficiency improvement in just the water example we're talking about. So the financial returns are significant. And so, like I said, the consortium's done a great job of presenting the use case, and we've also obviously been helping with that, going out there and presenting this is what blockchain is. These are use cases you can think about for using blockchain. This is how blockchain can be applied. So yeah, I think people are turning the corner now. They understand it. So it's a matter of execution.
Andrew Bruce is our guest, Data Gumbo, and the consortium that we've referenced a few times, the OOC, Oil and Gas Blockchain Consortium. And I'm reading a story here from Reuters, whose members include Chevron Corp, ConocoPhillips, ExxonMobil, Royal Dutch Shell, among others. So just to clarify, they were the ones that put together this consortium and then basically said, hey, who's got an idea of the technology that's going to best use what we're trying to do? You guys were awarded the contract. Is that right? So these guys were the ones that put the consortium together, and then you guys got the contract?
That's correct, yes.
So I don't know if you know this or not, but to me that seems like a proactive approach from the oil and gas industry. I don't know a lot of other industries that are using blockchain outside of maybe a technology industry like ag industry or municipalities or something along those lines. Do you work with any other industries besides the energy industry? It's a pilot, I should mention. Also in the story, it's mentioning that this Data Gumbo to pilot the technology for water handling services in the Bakken shale field in North Dakota. Do you talk to me a little bit about some of the other industries or other areas that you guys are doing this blockchain with, or is this your first?
No, so we're working with several other projects. It's all oil and gas, but if you think of commodity haulage, so in this example we're talking about with the consortium, it's water, but it could equally well be crude oil or chemicals or any bulk commodity, sand. It could be any bulk commodity. And clearly there's transportation involved, which is trucking in this case, but it could be trucking. We've got some use cases we worked on for crude shipments. So basically what our strategy is to work with the oil and gas companies and then follow the supply chain, which gets you into logistics very quickly. So any kind of shipping or transportation of objects. And then you also got provenance. So how do you prove where a piece of something came from? So a piece of steel, or if you want to track a piece of equipment and all the repair records for that piece of equipment, and you want to track provenance of the steel all the way back to the steel mill. Those are other examples that we've looked at. And so to answer your question, basically following the supply chain up and down, the hydrocarbon supply chain, all the way from seismic data through the drilling, through the transportation, trading, and then ultimately to the end use where you're delivering lubricants to a retail shop. So it's all up and down the supply chain.
I've tried to get a handle on the cryptocurrencies over the past several years. Of course, you got Bitcoin as the main attention grabber and name recognition. There's a bunch of other ones too. I think Ethereum is one that comes to mind. How many different cryptocurrencies are you guys going to be using here for this blockchain technology in the Bakken, or is it just a specific kind? Or talk to me a little bit about that slice of it.
Yeah, there is zero cryptocurrency. So we don't need any cryptocurrency. We don't promote any cryptocurrency. There's nothing wrong with good old US dollars or Norwegian kroner or whatever else currency you want to use. So it's much more about confirming the terms of execution of a contract and then making payments using normal currency. You don't need a cryptocurrency for any reason at all. So we don't use any. And there's no mining. You don't have to do any mining for proof of work, because you're proving that the transaction occurred using IoT data, and then you're confirming with all the different counterparties in a consensus algorithm that everybody's got an exact same copy of all the proof you need to prove the transaction.
Just a couple more questions left
with
mining. Sorry, just a couple more
Go
questions.
ahead.
Andrew Bruce, the chief executive with that at Gumbo. Um, how accepting is the industry on this? Do you see this? This is a pilot out in the Bakken. So talk to me about the next steps. I mean, a pilot means that they're serious about it, but they need to check out a few things first. So where are we at with this?
Well, I think we're doing a pilot for this project, but one point is that first of all the consortium owns the IP to the contract, which is very interesting. So I think that it's a kind of a new model of how these companies are going to start working with each other. Obviously, there's no indication or even allusion to any kind of collaboration that you wouldn't want to have. But if you can standardize templates, contract templates, and then use that to drive efficiencies, then that's going to be good. And once we've got 2 or 3 of these things working in the field and working in production, I think you're going to see a very rapid adoption of the technology, because like I said, it has such a big financial gain at the end of it.
And that was kind of one of the. Go ahead.
The other point to make is that it's a win-win for both service companies and for the operators. So it's not like this is something that the oil companies have come up with and are going to use it to beat everybody else over the head with. They get financial value from it because they get transparency of operations. They only pay for performance which is actually delivered, and they can manage their spend better. But the service companies can then get paid on time because it's an automated transaction based on the terms that have already been agreed with their customers, and they actually do get paid for performance that they do deliver. So now you can start negotiating interesting discounts for early payments, and it streamlines the whole process. And like I said, it's a win-win for all parties. It's not like one party wins and the other one loses.
That was the one thing in the press release that stood out to me. $3.7 billion annually in cost savings for the oil and gas water business is what you guys calculated. You named a few reasons there, but if you wouldn't mind, take this opportunity and explain, why you're saving $3.7 billion annually just in the water side of the oil and gas business.
Well, because it's a complex manual process. So you pick up water, you sign a field ticket, which gets put in a pickle jar somewhere, and then there's an invoice generated. Then there's a dispute over that invoice, and there's a whole manual process of who has delivered what and who has picked up what and who's proved it, who signed it, where's the field ticket, does my data match your data? No, it doesn't. Okay, now we've got a dispute. And the whole process is fraught with opportunities for error. And so what we can do is, like I said, that's a 14-step process, which is it's got three loops in it for areas of dispute, which can be boiled down to a 3-step process. So think of the pumping gas into your car. You go and swipe your credit card, you pump gas, and you leave. That's how it should be. So you pick up water and you deliver water to the saltwater disposal well, and the payment is made. You don't need any other steps in the process. So that's the kind of efficiency improvement we're talking about. It's as simple as pumping gas.
What's next for you guys after this pilot program? Are you looking at other shale plays, other industries within the same Bakken area? What's kind of, or is it just this and see what it goes?
No, I don't know if you saw the announcement, but we're partnering with Antelope Water Management. So they have a water processing facility they're setting up in the Permian. So we're actively getting ready to support their whole business model. We're automating performance contracts for a couple of guy in the world with a fax machine, and nobody else. A fax machine would be useless. And if you're the only person with a blockchain and nobody else is connected to the same network as you are, then it's useless. So we are building a network of people who are interconnected using the same network and can use it to automate the execution. So after this is, well, it's continuing doing what we're already doing, which is build our network of interconnected companies.
How can people get in?
Who can use?
I was going to ask, how can people get in touch with you if they want to be part of this network?
Andrew at datagumbo.com.
That's easy enough. Andrew at datagumbo.com.
Yep.
Outstanding. Okay, and then final thoughts, final words, anything we missed, anything you want to reiterate? What do you want people to remember from this interview?
I'd like them to remember that blockchain is not a big complicated thing. You can call us this afternoon. We can set you up with a blockchain node, and you can start negotiating contracts with people who are already in the network already. So you can just subscribe to a service and start using blockchain to drive efficiency to your operation. You don't have to build a blockchain. You don't have to figure out, which blockchain to use. You can just subscribe to a service, and if you don't like it, you unplug it, and you haven't lost anything. So it's easy, and the cost savings are tremendous. Potential cost savings